This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, it's Tammy here with you again, and I'm hating to have to be dwelling on this topic again. Actually, no, I'm actually glad that I have a chance to talk to you about this topic. What you're seeing on your screen is the new old annuity.com, and I had a couple of people ask me some questions about things that they had noticed. So I want to go through this again because, in the past, told people, well, if you're getting it for free, you might as well stay on this platform because, you never know. It might help you with search. I don't know. And I used to tell people that religiously. And now that I've seen their revamp, I'm starting to have some questions. So, what we're going to do today is just go through the new old annuity.com and see why, if you're an advisor or an agent or a broker, you may not want to use this platform. You may want to think twice before having your stuff up there. So, the first thing is many of you know that I took issue with being their ghostwriter at one point, and I was doing a lot of articles on this platform. But then I was finding that when an advisor decided to leave, whether it was Safe Money, especially Safe Money Radio, if they decided to leave Safe Money Radio, all of a sudden all their material was pulled down and it was just like this big kill switch was activated, right? So you lost everything for which you paid me to do, for which you paid, and everything that you paid them to do, I guess, and you lost it all, right? And that was part of the deal. And that caused a little bit of problems. So we had a couple of advisors that were upset because they paid for something and they got it taken away. And then to make matters worse, they were reusing the content on their website without the permission of the advisor. So, in other words, you paid me for an article, I gave you a byline on it. It was a ghostwriting, which is a totally legitimate thing. Politicians, celebrities, everybody does that, right? So I take your idea and I write an article for you. Well, what was happening is not only were the people at Aegis slash Anthony Owen slash Bill Broach and annuity.com, not only were they pulling your stuff down, but they were also reusing it for other advisors or as part of their library without your permission. So we had a big rigmarole over that, and we supposedly got that fixed. But here's what I found. So this is the first thing I want to show you, and hopefully you all can see my screen. Let me go in there and type. Oops, sorry about that. So I typed in Winnett. Andrew Winnett was one of the very first people that apprised me of the situation over at annuity.com and how things were working. And he had gotten some really nasty emails from them after he decided that he no longer wanted to participate with their group. With I don't know what do they call themselves now? First Annuity. I don't know what all their names are anymore because it seems like it changes now. They're part of Integrity, ironically, right? But he is the first one that complained about, hey, where's my stuff that I paid you for, Tammy? And I sent him everything, and then he got threatening letters that he couldn't use any of it. So it was all really kind of shady. So what I'm going to do is look for him, and then I found this article. Now, I know I wrote this because I have the original. And if you'd ever like to see the original, I have it. So I have the original that I wrote for Andrew, for which he paid me. Okay, so you notice some things about this right away. First of all, you have presented by instead of by Andrew Winnett. There's presented by the Library of Financial Articles. What does that even mean? That means they took this article that I wrote, they slightly changed it, and they basically took it and put it in their article library. Okay, that's not cool, is it? They didn't ask for permission from this. Now we know that it was long after because this all started to come apart around 2021 or so. And so we know that they knowingly did this. And another thing that they did, let's see if can I even, let me click on it and let's look at it a little bit. Okay, so in the Library of Financial Articles, here's this one that I wrote for Andrew Winnett. No longer is his name associated with it. However, this is the same article. And the other thing that happens when you do this, okay, is when Andrew Winnett's name is searched, the theory is they left, what they did is leave a quote from him. You notice this right up here, this part I'm highlighting right up here. They left his name on that quote. Why would they do that? Did they not recognize that his name was on there? Of course they did. But what they want is when you search for Andrew Winnett, they want this article to come up. Why? Because this Safe Money Guide, this Safe Money book is a lead generation, a lead magnet for them. And what they're doing is basically using his name to get people to this page. Hopefully, I don't think it's working, but then you click on this and voila, you're getting an invitation to get this book, right? Who gets that lead? Not Andrew Winnett, right? So this is my first thing that I found when I went back through here. But there's more. There's more. There's always more with these people. So let's go back to the home page and let's go to find an agent. Now, I told some of you to stay on here, and some of you, like Jerry Yu out in Irvine, California. So Jerry Yu wanted to stay on here, and I tried to talk him out of it, but I said, okay, well, you're not paying for it. Go ahead. Well, basically, if you aren't a radio show host, or if you aren't a big producer, like a really big producer who's been submitting, pieces of business to Anthony Owen for a long time, if you aren't one of those people, you're not going to get any love at all from this website. As a matter of fact, your efforts are going to be used to make sure that the radio show hosts get a lot of leads. Let me show you. Find an agent. So Jerry Yu's been paying for content for a long time, and he has some really good articles on here. You'd think that he'd be listed when you go down here to California. You want to find all the California agents. But voila, guess what? Matt Moore, Emily Loy, Soren Svensson, Stephen Grossman, Dion, and Earl Doucette. None of these people are Jerry Yu. Jerry Yu, however, still has tons of articles on here. You'd think they'd want to list him, but so what's the difference between him and all these other people? Well, he's not a radio show host because he's smart enough not to be. That's a whole other topic we could get into. But he has 12 articles at least published on here, and yet not a mention when find find an agent. He's not on the find an agent. Why is that? This happens with everybody who they consider to be a lower tier agent. So the only ones who are getting love are these other people. Well, what does that mean? That means if you look for Jerry Yu, you're going to get this Safe Money Guide again. Is Jerry Yu getting these leads? I can absolutely unequivocally tell you he is not. So they profit by having his name because it'll show up in search. People go to read one of his articles, and if they happen to click on this lead magnet, they get leads. These leads are being distributed, I almost guarantee you. Like, I don't know this for certain. This is my opinion, but this is my informed opinion about what they're doing, is they are gathering up whatever leads come into annuity.com. There aren't a lot right now that I know of, but they're good leads, and they're giving those to whoever they choose to give them to. They are cherry picking them, and they're giving them to their radio show hosts. So if you're not a radio show host, and please, please think very hard and long before you invest in that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have a couple of advisors on that are going to tell you their horror stories about Safe Money Radio. And then you're going to think maybe 5 times before you consider plunking down $50,000, $60,000 or more on a radio show. So if you want a radio show, talk to me. We can figure out, even if you want a land radio show, I guarantee you can do it for cheaper elsewhere. So if you're being approached for that, just wave them away. Wave them away. Now, again, all these things are important for you to know, because if you are driving traffic, like for example, you're publishing articles here, okay, and you're promoting them on your social media or however they tell you to promote them. Like so say they dangle this free, or you're paying $99 a month or whatever to be on annuity.com, whatever it is. They're saying you need to promote these articles, promote these articles. Well, yes. And so you're driving traffic to your article. So let's say Jerry promotes his rolling 401k over. Okay. Now, what do you see on that page? The Safe Money Guide. Are If I fill this out, is Jerry getting the lead? Probably not. As a matter of fact, I know Jerry personally, so I get to talk to him a lot. And as far as I know, he hasn't gotten any of these leads. I think they are being, if you're getting any at all, they're being, again, distributed to the top tier people. So think twice about doing their dirty work for them. Anything that you promote on this website, the traffic is not going to you in most cases. It's not going to your website. And even if it is, if you own one of those ageist produced cookie cutter websites, if they're sending it there, they're indirectly usurping that traffic and sending it back. And I just know that's what they're doing. I have a lot of people that have done deep dives on these websites and who are SEO people, and that's what they're doing. And the reason this irritates me is because, number one, if there's one article by Andrew Winnett that's being poached and prodded and picked on and edited so it's reused on this website without permission, there's probably 10 others, 15 others, 20 others. So if you want to keep your content, and also I believe this presented by Jerry Yu is bogus, right? Because wouldn't you rather, if you're looking at something that's presented by versus by Jerry Yu, it should say by Jerry Yu, period. None of this garbage of presented by. The only reason I can figure out they started this presented by is because they are probably creating a lot of this content with some sort of artificial intelligence software. The reason, and the way I can tell, is that it's not very personal. It doesn't have references to, for example, specific clients. Maybe you're telling a story about George who bought an annuity from you and was really happy about it. Well, those aren't appearing in these stories because AI doesn't know those stories. In order to use AI effectively to do this, it really has to be your AI and you have to teach it all about you. And I don't think you want to do that personally. So there is a stiffness, there's a generic quality and feel to these articles. And that tells me that they're either using some schlocky writer who's just churning these out, all the time, or an AI. And I'm going to guess AI because it's cheap, right? So they can give these away for free to you. They can tell you, hey, we'll give you free articles. But you look at some of them. Let's just go take it. If we're here already, we might as well let's just look at some of these. You'll see what I mean. Read a couple. Everything about annuities. Do you insure your home? Okay. It again doesn't say by Lyle Boss. It says presented by Lyle Boss. And it's kind of it's just there. There's nothing unique about it. It's just articles that don't have any depth. They don't have any research. They don't have any charts. They don't have any data. So is that what you want to produce and put out there? Presented by makes me very suspicious. There's a big difference between a book that is presented by Joe Blow Agent and a book that is written by Joe Blow Agent. And ghostwriting, as I said before, is totally legitimate. So, for example, I've ghostwritten several books for advisors. It's different. I sit with them and I ask their thoughts. On a real ghostwritten book, it's basically your thoughts, your head. And it's just that you don't have the time or energy or effort or skill set to put it into words. So you hire somebody to take your thoughts and your ideas and your stories and put them in a coherent format, right? So again, you've heard a lot about AI, about how it's going to revolutionize it. I would be cautious. I'd be like Elon Musk and be cautious of how reliant you are on this. It's not that it can't be a good tool. It can. But if you teach it too much about yourself, it can imitate you. And it gets better and better and better the more you teach it. So be cautious with that. And again, what are they doing here that's any different than what was done before? Well, again, you're not getting authorship, you're getting presented by. And I think that's a huge difference. So take a look at the new old annuity.com. And also, I'm going to be bringing you more information about Safe Money Radio because they're still out there hawking this pathetic travesty of a fake radio program and telling you you're going to get tons of leads from it. And it's just not happening for most people. Maybe 1 in 1,000 agents makes it work. And it has to be a unique situation. It has to be the perfect mix of you've got the right airtime, you've got the right market, you've got the right promotions, you've got the right commercials, you've got everything working for you for it to work. And even then, it's really, really, really generic. It makes you just another one of those guys. You're not a Stan the annuity man. You're not any of those very unique people in the industry. So my thing is, what I do is I'm trying to make you just ever so slightly famous. You don't need to be Dave Ramsey. You just need to be a little bit famous in your niche, in your area, in your specialty, just a little bit, and you will see results. And right now, with the economy the way it is and everything else, people, there's so much scamming going on. There's so much twisting of the truth that a lot of people don't want to listen to your message because they think you're a liar. So what you have to do is break out of that. And the way you do it is with good press, good public relations, good promotion. So it's not that you need super fantastic content, although that helps, but you do need a super fantastic cheerleader in your in your world that's promoting you, that's doing things. So I would suggest go over to safemoneytrends.com and also go to the YouTube channel. Just type in Safe Money Trends YouTube and look at some of these things that advisors are doing, other advisors, and see how much it boosts their credibility. It makes them more approachable and more likable. This stuff on annuity.com does none of that. It doesn't make you more likable or approachable. It doesn't even really make you seem like that much of an expert. So maybe steer clear, stop providing your competition with quality leads by sending traffic to this website. Send traffic to yourself. And that's what we do. And Safe Money Trends, everything's pointing back to you and your website. So again, we're a small group. We don't want to grow very big. If you're interested, contact me or go check it out. And there's a place where you can type in your information and request a session. So again, annuity.com, we are going to be looking in depth at Safe Money Radio. I'm going to have some real advisors telling their stories. These are all verifiable. Matter of fact, one advisor, he kept all his receipts, he kept all the correspondence and everything, so he can back up everything he's going to tell you. I'm very excited about that. We will talk soon, and thanks for joining me today.